I like and respect John Hickenlooper, and I'm grateful for his years of service to the city and state where I was born. He loves people. He calls himself a brewer, but he's really a human embodiment of hospitality. He works to make people feel welcome. I continue to count him as a friend, and I have a genuine personal regard for him. 20 years ago, someone like me wouldn't have been expected to step aside, because 20 years ago, someone like me wouldn't have been in the race in the first place. Times have changed. Our leadership must change too. We need new voices at the table, voices that understand the stakes of the era we're living through, who don't see politics as a game. I got into this race because I believe we're living in a dangerous moment. Some people say that they think things will get fixed if we all just turn down the volume, seek compromise, and let things get back to normal. That diagnosis mistakes symptoms, including Trump, for the disease. I wish it were that easy, but the truth is there is no back to normal. There's only forward to normal. We don't have problems because of the breakdown of civility. We have a breakdown in civility because we have problems. And that's why our moving forward to normal starts not with a personality type, but with a clear view of how our democracy is failing and what bold structural changes are necessary to make it work and make it sustainable. Our politics and our economy are hugely, manifestly unfair in ways that we can see and feel in our everyday lives. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are denied to too many, and for bad reasons, for reasons we can fix. Super PACs enabled by Citizens United, along with dark money and corporate special interests, control outcomes in our elections, including in Democratic primaries. The Supreme Court's voiding of key provisions of the Voting Rights Act has ushered in a new era of voter suppression, and gerrymandering runs rampant so that members of some communities are far more likely to have their voices counted and heard. Three things that are basic elements of what we recognize as a middle-class life, a home, an education, and healthcare, have exploded in price in the last generation. While the one way that most people have to pay for those things, the pay they get from a job, has virtually flatlined or shrunk for the bottom 80% of Americans. A majority of Americans are sharing a shrinking pie while trying to address exploding costs. And those at the top are enjoying a growing pie with shrinking contributions to sustain the society that makes them rich. Corruption is at the heart of the unfairness in our economy and in our politics. Corporate and special interest capture has created a system where economic actors are writing the rules and paying off the referee. We learned this week that Greenland isn't for sale, but the sad truth is America is and has been. That's how you get tax breaks to billionaires, while 1 in 6 children are likely to go to bed hungry in this country tonight. That's how you get people dying or going bankrupt because of healthcare costs, while drug companies are allowed to price gouge on products developed through taxpayer-funded research. That's how you get educators with tens of thousands of dollars in student loans who get paid less than a living wage in the communities they serve. That's how you get a system that allows the entities that are hastening climate change to avoid footing the bill for tackling the climate crisis, robbing our children and grandchildren of the future they deserve. Some have already called for revolution. There will be more such calls as time goes on. The alternative to revolution is to make significant change through our institutions, to make our democracy deliver for more Americans. If you don't want to burn America down and start over, then we have to fix America, and we have a narrow window to do so. That means we need leaders who are not conditioned by a lifetime in politics to be afraid of anything more than incremental steps. That means we need different types of leaders, people who are driven primarily by the problems we face, not the offices they get to hold. We need leaders who understand the global dimensions of challenges like climate change, trade, and immigration reform. And we need leaders who won't wait for proposals to be presented to them, who will energetically dive in and do the late night, early morning, round-the-clock work of negotiating legislation that will make change happen. Voting the right way is not enough. We need people ready to do the work. They need to be people who are able to compromise, yes, but not as an end in itself. They also need to stand their ground. Finding the average of views is not a theory of change. In a time like this, the cautious bet is not a safe one. Only bold, decisive action will do. Now here's the good news. We are Democrats. We are the party of big ideas that drive progressive change. Every major expansion of opportunity and equality in this country in the last 100 years has been championed by Democrats, from Social Security to civil rights laws to Medicare to the ACA. But we need more than big ideas. We need the courage to fight for them. Sometimes people tell me that the odds of getting the change we want are slim. Perhaps, But what choice do we have but to stay and fight? No other course of action would be defensible. We have to commit to each other that we will work hard and work together. We have to look in each other's eyes and imagine the time in the future, years from now, when we'll look back at this terrible moment we're living through and say, those were dark times, but we had faith in our values and in our country and in one another. And we cared enough not to give in. Instead, we fought forward and we won. We can mend our country and win the future. We need ethical, bold, progressive leadership in Washington, and that's why I'm in this campaign. Join us.